So how many of you have ever wanted to meet a prophet from the days of the Bible? Well, in this video, you're not really going to meet a real prophet, but one maybe who played the part of a prophet named Isaiah. So the prophet Isaiah served in the 8th century BC. He was contemporary with Hezekiah, the Judean king who ruled from Jerusalem. But at this point, the northern kingdom was already destroyed in 722 by the Assyrians. Sargon II actually was the Assyrian king who sort of finished off the siege of the northern kingdom. Tiglath-Pileser in 734 began this southern campaign of the Assyrians, but at this point, the northern kingdom was already gone. And yet, Isaiah was one who served primarily the Judean or the southern kingdom. And now, of course, with Sennacherib, the Assyrian king, in 705, that's when he took rule, but he too was bringing his people now to attack the southern kingdom of Judah. And Isaiah, I think, understood what this meant. The implications was that Jerusalem and other cities would again be destroyed, just like the north had been destroyed by the same Assyrians. So Isaiah was a prophet who spoke hope and comfort to his people. And we picture him in the desert of Judah. Now, we're not, of course, specifically aware of where he served. We're going to go into the Judean Desert in this video and play the part, if you will, of Isaiah. You'll know what I mean when you see the video to come. But we want to hear these words again because perhaps right now in your life you need comfort, you need peace. So I hope that in a very small way that these same words that Isaiah spoke somewhere in the Judean desert will also bring you comfort in your own circumstances of life as well. So let's head to the Judean desert and hear this guy play the part of Isaiah the prophet.
Shalom, shalom. My name is Isaiah. I am a prophet of God. I have been called to comfort my people because the Assyrians are approaching from the north. I live in Jerusalem, but I often come here to the Judean Desert to seek God's counsel and direction. I know that with this enemy approaching, my people are scared. They're worried. And yet God has given me a voice of hope and encouragement and promise. He says, my people, be comforted. He's told me to speak tenderly to Jerusalem. For just like this desert, God is preparing a way for us. He has made a promise to us to never leave us nor forsake us. And just like this Judean desert, every mountain will be made low, in a rough place, a plain. The voice of God has told me this. And I must tell my people, and I must tell you, that in your trial and tribulation, that you should not worry, but you should cast all your care on God, for He cares for you. So here in this Judean desert, my dear friends, be comforted, be encouraged, for God is with you. Shalom, shalom, from the land of Israel and the Judean desert.
So, okay, maybe not the best rendition of Isaiah, but you get the gist of it. Here's this prophet bringing hope and peace and words of comfort to his people. He knew the Assyrians were coming, and he wanted to simply share these words of comfort to his people living in Jerusalem and other places within Judah. John the Baptist would echo this very same words of Isaiah the prophet when Jesus came. And of course, we know Jesus spent 40 days and 40 nights with the temptation in the desert somewhere himself. So John the Baptist came proclaiming and preparing the way for Jesus, as Isaiah did about 700 years prior to John the Baptist doing this, proclaiming these words of comfort. For you and me, there's comfort to be found only in a personal relationship with God through Christ, who came, of course, to be our Redeemer and our friend and, of course, our only source of hope and peace. In fact, Jesus himself would later say, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will bring you peace. Take my yoke upon you." A yoke, by the way, was a rabbinic way of saying, take my interpretation of the law, because it's the only one that's going to bring you rest for your souls. A term that Jesus borrowed, by the way, from the prophet Jeremiah, incidentally, who lived about 100 years or so after Isaiah's time. So I hope you enjoyed this teaching in the desert, Isaiah the prophet, as he brings these words of comfort to each of us. Until next time, shalom and thanks for joining us.